Hello. Before we start today's episode, if you would like a condensed version of what I'm talking about in this podcast, go ahead and subscribe to the Perfectionist Guide. You can read the entire thing in 3 minutes or less. To access this, go to CourtneyLoveGavin.com/newsletter. Are you a bit of a perfectionist, type A, hyper performer? Then you know that having the audacity to see an ideal and bring it into reality while breaking generational habits of hustle can be tough, but it doesn't have to be. If you are ready to burn bright instead of burning out, to lead without losing yourself, and to enjoy the life you have worked so hard to create, then keep listening. I'm your host, America's leader on rewiring perfectionism, CLG, and this is Perfectionism Rewired, the podcast. Welcome to Perfectionism Rewired, episode number 79. What we are talking about today is something that I have been wanting to do an episode on for almost an entire year. It's celebration. And it's not celebration in the way that you think about typical celebrations. We are not doing the superficial celebration stuff. Treat yourself. This is not what today's episode is on. We are talking about neuro-normalizing celebrations, why it is paramount that you build this skill, and how you can get started with doing it today. Celebrations are how I start off all of my private one-on-one client coaching sessions. My clients, depending on their mood, sometimes might be like, oh, or do we have to start with celebrations? And the reason why we start with celebrations is because when you celebrate, you are neurologically claiming yourself. You are claiming what you have done. You are also claiming what you didn't do, because celebrations aren't always like, oh, mastered this, got this job. Celebrating sometimes is like, I was at the mall and I really wanted to get a Cinnabon and I didn't. When you are celebrating, you are owning the choices and the decisions that you make. You are claiming them. And when you celebrate on your one-on-one sessions with me as your coach, you are letting it be witnessed, and you are normalizing other people celebrating with you, because we cannot have something that we are unwilling to receive. I look at celebration as a way of us, you, people, receiving ourselves, affirming that it is safe for us to exist. It is safe for us to be who we are. It is safe for us to take up space. Celebrations are a skill. Name 5 things to celebrate about yourself right now. I have a strong hunch it's not going to rattle off the top of your head. Maybe you can think of one thing, but coming up with 5 is not just going to be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now, name 5 things that you want to critique about yourself. I can guarantee you that your brain automatically served you those 5 things faster. Celebrating is a skill that our human brains are not practiced at unless we develop it, unless we sharpen it. Celebrations are something that are not just reserved for birthdays, holidays, or trophies. This episode is about you celebrating you. Now, if your brain is thinking, I have nothing to be proud of, I have nothing that I could celebrate, it's not good enough, I shouldn't be proud. Like, those people should be proud. But me, I literally haven't achieved anything impressive. That is a lie. That is a limited idea that your brain is entertaining. Do you like the acronym there? LIE. If you are not massively, hugely, enormously proud of where you are right now, if you are not feeling successful right now, if you are not feeling satisfied with yourself right now, then you have integration work to do, because you cannot create extraordinary results that are sustainable, that feel juicy and delicious when you are believing that you're not good enough. You can create the results, but it's going to feel awful. You're not going to enjoy it. This same shit is going to come up. It comes up at every level. I have nothing to be proud of. There's nothing that I have to celebrate. It is just a thought that you are having, an optional narrative. One, you're alive, homie, so that's something to celebrate. It does take work, but it's like the best kind of work. It does take a little bit of pain to learn how to feel proud of yourself. And the way that I'm defining pain is something that is uncomfortable. But this pain is progression pain. And it is choosing discomfort now instead of discomfort later. So a great analogy for this, you are working out and you are doing squats. When you are doing that, you are choosing the discomfort now of being active and working out instead of the discomfort later where you can't buckle your airplane seatbelt because it can't fit. Yes, I am being extreme about this because brains are extreme and we need to snap it. We need to get its attention. Progression pain, you can look at it as a pain, or you can change your thoughts around it. For example, when I'm at the gym, I'm like, oh yeah, this is shaping my muscle fibers. When I'm sore the next day, I love it when I'm sore. It means that I still have areas to grow and that I can change my physical form and I can continue to get stronger. Progression pain, for what we're talking about right now, is you have the discomfort of processing your brain's urge that is going to say, I don't have anything to celebrate. And instead, you get curious with yourself and you find things to celebrate. And you tell your brain, no, we're not leaving this spot right here until there are 5 things that I will write down and acknowledge that I can celebrate myself in this moment and to let myself feel them. When I say let yourself feel them, you can fake a sit-up. You can just be like, yeah, I'm sort of doing it. If you're going through the motions, that does your body no good. That does not help at all. Same thing with this kind of work. If you are just writing things down and just, I'm celebrating that I'm alive. I'm celebrating that I have a house. I'm celebrating that I have a phone. I'm celebrating the internet. If you're bullshitting yourself, you're bullshitting it, you're going to get bullshit results, which means you're not going to get results. When you decide to celebrate yourself in this moment, it allows you the opportunity to have this progression pain. Even though you have pain in the moment, you are progressing towards becoming the person who you want to be. And that is something to celebrate. You get to celebrate yourself for doing this. How often do you celebrate yourself? Brain will serve you this thought of, if I celebrate myself now, then I'm never going to change. How can I celebrate myself now when I haven't accomplished what I want to? There's this fear that if you give yourself permission to feel good about yourself now, then you will never change. Now, that is complete crap. And this is how we know that this is complete crap. All of us listening to this were toddlers at one point in our life. We all know toddlers. Our brains are drunk toddlers. Now, the way that you teach a toddler, the way that we learned how to read and how to write and how to walk and all of those things is that we were encouraged. I can guarantee that you drew some ugly ass pictures and that they were framed or put on the fridge. Your first steps, those were celebrated. Your first word, you can spell your name. All of those things led to you being to where you are now. How we know that it is completely untrue that if you give yourself permission to feel good about yourself, then you're never going to change is because when we look at children that come from sterile, cold environments, children from orphanages, their biological age will be 4, but their mental and all of their other skill sets will be that sometimes of a 6-month-old. It's because there isn't that celebration. There isn't that acknowledgement of who they are right now and how that is amazing. Another way you can look at this is look at where you are right now. I can guarantee that there are goals that you want to achieve, or there are things that you would like to be different in your life. You haven't achieved them yet because you have been critiquing yourself or you have been judging yourself. That is why. Punishing yourself to change doesn't work. If it did, we would all be billionaires tap dancing in our diamond shoes. The old philosophy of suck it up, white knuckling, shame, and humiliation, that doesn't work. In fact, from a neurological perspective, it blocks you from actually seeing what the issue is. When you are not celebrating yourself, Imagine you put on a pair of Bose soundproof headphones, and then I am instructing you to cover your eyes, and I'm telling you that you need to walk across the 405 during rush hour. You're going to die. It doesn't work, and it's very, very dangerous. And it's the same thing when you are punishing, critiquing, judging, shaming yourself. When you're doing all of that, it's like you are putting your hands over your eyes, and then you're trying to read. You're literally blocked from doing it. That is why things have been so difficult up until this point right now. Hands that you are putting over your face are just continuing to get harder and harder to remove until you have blinders that are on all the time. And I know that because I had on huge blinders. My first life coach would always tell me, Courtney, she was British. She would say, Courtney, we just need you to remove the blinders. You just need to remove the blinders to open up and see what else is out there. So I get it. I was blind, I was lost, and now I can see. And that is why I want to offer you the invitation to be able to see and to experience life in a whole new way. We think that we're not allowed to celebrate until this thing has happened. There's nothing wrong that your life isn't where you want it to be yet. That means, one, that you have fucking goals, so celebrate that shit. You are allowed to feel as good about yourself as you want to, for whatever reason you want to, and you don't need to justify it to anyone else. I have been studying The Gene Keys by Richard Rudd. He talks about allowing, accepting, and embracing. And I transferred these to coaching. Before we can accept ourselves, we need to allow who we are into our life. Going back to our analogy with the hands over our eyes, take your hands off and just let yourself see and be with where you are now. Look at the number on the scale. Look at the number in your bank account. Open the door to the proverbial closet there. And you don't have to accept it right away. You can shy away from it, but the first step is just allowing it to be there. And once you allow it to be there, then you can accept it. And acceptance is such a beautiful thing because it means you are courageously looking at yourself. And that acceptance is really what sparks the fire of transformation. And then comes the final phase of embracing. That is where celebration comes in. If you are someone where you're not liking where you are and you're like, I can't celebrate myself for where I am right now, then step one, just allow yourself to be like, this is my life. You don't have to put on rose-colored glasses or anything like that. Just allow yourself to have that and really be cognizant of yourself and the story that you are talking around it. Like, this is my life and it sucks. That's not necessarily true. It's not. It's totally optional that you're thinking that it sucks. Now, if your brain is telling you that we can't celebrate until we make $100,000 this month, or your brain is telling you you can't celebrate until you hit this goal. If you do that, it's because you never learned how to integrate your success and you are holding it outside of yourself. It doesn't work that way. That is a huge thing that causes imposter syndrome, is when we just keep moving the goalpost and the milestone. Just decide that your life is fridge-worthy. It's your life, so why not? It's been really interesting for my own brain to realize I can celebrate, I can be at peace with where I am right now, and I can also still have this drive and this ambition while coming from a place of being very content and very at peace and in the joy of where I'm at right now. It makes the whole experience better, and it makes everything that you want happen faster. Celebrations are something that is available to all of you right now. And here are some ways that you can do this. Dance it out. When you dance, you are joyfully celebrating. And the celebration goes from something that is vague and abstract and conceptual that lives in your brain into your actual muscle memory. Dancing is how you experience the joy of success in your nervous system. If you have achieved success, but you really don't feel like it's your own, it is because you have stayed in your head and you didn't let it move down to your body. So your body has no memory of it. And this is why you can keep achieving and achieving and achieving, but you still feel just as anxious and just as stressed out as before, because our unconscious mind runs at least 95% of the way that we operate. And it doesn't remember feeling really good. It does not remember celebrating. It does not remember that you ever achieved anything. All that it remembers is feeling really stressed and hustling. So when you dance, you are able to give your body a memory of success. It is a somatic experience of success that you are neuro-normalizing, so it becomes part of your identity. Another way that I celebrate myself every day is I write down little celebrations. I will tell myself, I am so proud of myself for taking Chandler for a walk. I'm so proud of myself for catching that pattern that I was putting pressure on myself today. When you do that, maybe it's the first time that you are really seeing it and curiously exploring it. Like, that is something to celebrate. Just your awareness. Sometimes I write down that I'm so proud of myself for choosing to show up for my clients. That is something that I am proud of myself for. I did it because everything is a choice. Everything is a choice. It's those simple, tiny things that you want to start doing to build the skill of celebrating. It is all those tiny things that add up. They are what create your success and your satisfaction and your peace and your calm and your delight over time. You are pulling yourself out of the judgment that your brain loves to do, if you're anything like my brain, and you're resetting. And sometimes it's simply celebrating your willingness and your ability to reset, to pull yourself out of the judgment of, I should have done this differently. I should be further along. Why didn't I do this? Pausing in that moment and saying, oh, but I'm right here. This is where I'm at, and this is what I have to work with. Celebrations are really pausing in that recognition. If you don't teach yourself to celebrate, this is where I feel like we should have the Sarah McLachlan black and white part with the sad animal. If you don't teach yourself to celebrate, your brain will think nothing is a big deal and it will just continue to critique. Your brain will just clump everything together. Nothing will really be exciting. Like, you will just live a beige existence. You'll probably die pretty early. Number one killer of our cells is stress. If you don't teach yourself to celebrate, if you don't develop this skill, you forfeit your ability to feel good and to feel proud. It is a journey learning to celebrate yourself. You are teaching your brain to see what's working, the small things that are working, and all of those inches add up over time. When you are celebrating yourself every day, you are actually teaching your brain what to keep doing, because brains are toddlers. So we need to treat them that way. We need to be like, that's so good. Your work is to find the beauty. Your work is to find the awesome. Your work is to not allow your brain to be like, there's nothing good about that. Oh, gross. Would just be like, nope. Brain, hey, no, I'm calling you to do better. Hey, I know that we can do better than this. And you're doing it in a very encouraging, not a shaming, judgy way. Not like, we can do better than this. It's not the way that you talk to your brain. Your brain is a toddler. We want it to be gentle, firm, but kind. You can say something really kindly and say, hey, no, we're not doing that. No, you're going to stay here and you're going to give me 5 things to celebrate about yourself. Okay? Yeah. You're going to give me 5 things. It's going to be so much fun. Do you want some help? Want some help with this? I can give you some questions to ask. This could be as painful or as awesome as you want it to be. It's up to you. You choose. It's not hard. If your brain is saying this is hard, it is not hard. It is just uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable because you are not used to doing it. But guess what? It will be comfortable soon. When you learn to celebrate and you develop this skill, the experience that you have in your body, what you're feeling, is going to be one that you have on purpose instead of on default. What you're going to feel is you're going to be able to feel like light and fun in your life on the daily instead of your brain's default, which is, I'm not thinking of anything right now, or like very neutral, or to be in panic or anxiety or overwhelm or despair and discouraged and dreadful, or like searching or IDK, so confused. Brains love habits. And when you practice and create a habit around celebrating, you teach your brain a new habit, a habit that contributes to your vitality and exuberance. So celebrate yourself, bitch. I can say that to all of you, okay? Celebrate yourself. What is the point of life? It is not a wild celebration of all that you are. Everything that I've given you in this episode, they're shortcuts, and these are cheat-like effects. When you create them, instead of working harder and longer with those voices of not good enough and not there yet, and endlessly wielding that whip behind you, you're saying no more slaves. And you are able to channel your brilliance and your energy into loving and celebrating who you are, where you are. Fiercely make the changes that you want to make from that place. I invite you to choose this path today. And if you're nodding your head yes, listen closely, because I might have the solution you've been searching for. My Perfectionism Rewired Accelerator, a 6-week, highly individualized one-on-one coaching experience designed exclusively for perfectionists like you. Your perfectionism is actually your greatest asset, and leveraging it can be hard work or take years of guesswork. That's why in Perfectionism Rewired Accelerator, I give you my key frameworks to taking charge of your Ferrari drive, proven to work even for the most type A, high-strung, stubborn perfectionists. In the first 30 days, you will cut your burnout in half, increase your professional fulfillment by at least 150%, and your self-compassion will go up at least 250%. And that is just your first 30 days. So if you want to save yourself years of trial and error, go to CourtneyLoveGavin.com/accelerator today. Or if you want to take the easy way, just click the link in the show notes to check out the Perfectionism Rewired Accelerator.